Along with the fallout of the FBI search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, there's also new movement from the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Today, the committee is scheduled to meet with Pennsylvania gubernatorial candidate and election denier Doug Mastriano, and they are reportedly now in possession of all of conspiracy theorist Alex Jones' text messages as well. Joining us now to discuss that and a lot more, member of the Oversight Committee and Select Committee investigating January 6th, Congressman Jamie Raskin. Let's start with the Alex Jones text messages. To what of interest is in there?
Good morning. We're not commenting on specific evidence that we've received and what role it might play in our investigation. But obviously, we are interested in receiving all evidence that will shed light on the plan to destabilize and overthrow the 2020 presidential election. And so that's why we're following all leads in order to put the evidence together and make a complete report to Congress and to the country. And that process continues, and we're using our time in August to explore further leads that came up in the first part of our investigation.
You know, given that you've been so closely looking at and monitoring not just the president's behavior, but those around him leading up to and on January 6th, I'm just curious your reaction. I know you can't say much to the FBI search and the removal of documents from Mar-a-Lago over the past 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about the separation of powers is we knew nothing about that. I know only what I've been able to see for, a couple of minutes this morning on TV. So we don't know whether that's something related to what we're working on or not. And we are conducting our own independent investigation. Obviously, everybody in America, and speaking as a citizen, we all have an interest in the rule of law in the country and respect for the rule of law and the resistance to the lawlessness that seems to be, always out there now. And I would hope that everybody would respect the rule of law in the country.
Congressman Raskin, good morning. Jonathan Lemire. Wanted to ask you, while this is all going on, of course, Congress still has business at hand, including the reconciliation package, which passed this weekend in the Senate, a marathon vote, and heads to the House this week, Friday, in fact. Give us your sense of it. Do you have any concerns that it will pass there? And in particular, will colleagues of yours perhaps insist on some sort of changes that might slow the process down?
Well, there is heavy pent-up demand for movement on climate change, which is obviously the overarching civilizational crisis of our time. Also in the House, I know that there is sweeping support, certainly on the Democratic side, for giving the government the power to negotiate for lower prescription drug prices in the Medicare program, which is a power the government's got in the VA program and it's got in Medicaid, but because a special interest rider was slipped in many years ago, it's been costing the American people $30 or $35 billion a year in extra prices. And so we know that that is in there. So we support the essential major features of what came out of the Senate. And I think a lot of us have the attitude that we're not going to allow the perfect to be the enemy of the good here, because we know that the Senate is on a razor's edge with the 50-50 split. So I believe that there's a head of steam in the House for the legislation that's come out. Not everybody's had the chance to study every part of it, and we will do that. But I'm hopeful that there will be movement this week on it.
And let me connect the two threads here, both the investigation into January 6th, but also this piece of legislation. I know Democrats are very bullish that if they get the reconciliation through, that it will be a strong platform from which on to run this November, as trying to control the House and the Senate, also important state officials. How much added emphasis, how much added weight is there for the Democrats to do well this fall, considering so many Republican opponents are these election deniers? We saw them do well in states like Michigan and Arizona last week, and Doug Mastriano, Pennsylvania gubernatorial candidate, speaking in front of your committee.
Well, obviously that's built into the American system. There's always another election around the corner, and I think that's what creates the incentive for us to act quickly on these major overdue questions like climate change, so we can actually make the investments we need in renewable energy systems, in solar and wind, and break from the carbon systems that are a major peril to the survival of our species. And it's the same thing on healthcare. We want to deliver on that, and donning my partisan hat, I will say that we believe that not only do we have the right program for the country, we're the only party that really has a program for the country. We are not consumed with yesterday's battles. We are not trying to overthrow the constitutional order. We are not trying to attack the electoral system itself. We're trying to defend the democracy and then make democracy deliver for the people. So that's the basic message that I've been taking out to my constituents and on the road.
Yeah. I know there's going to be more to come from the January 6th committee. Congressman Jamie Raskin, thank you very much for being on this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.